So, with the 2025 F1 season closely approaching, I thought it's time to do my predictions for the season and see how many of them I get wrong. So, at 20, I'm going to start off with Gabriel Bortoleto. Now, obviously, he is the F2 champion, but Sauber are terrible. That's just like the basics of it. Like, if we're being honest, there's no way Sauber are going to improve off of last season. I'll be very shocked if they do. They may as well focus on 2026. I'll be shocked if they don't. It's his first season in F1. It's probably going to be a struggle for him at the back of the grid. So I'm going 20th. 19th, I'm going his teammate Hulkenberg. After a great season at Haas last year, where he was getting some really good points for the team, he decided to leave for Sauber, which is obviously becoming Audi. So I do get it, but I think they're going to struggle this season. This isn't based on his driving ability at all. This is more the fact that I really think the car's going to be dreadful this year. But in 2026, it's going to be decent. I think that's probably the plan for Hulkenberg. Wait until 2026. 18th, I'm going with Hajar. Now, I'm not sure what to think of Hajar. He was runner-up in F2 last year, but his junior career is a bit mixed. So I'm really not sure what to expect of him. And with the RB, not going to be the worst car on the grid, but it was clearly slowing down. Like, it was a far worse car at the end of last season than the beginning. I don't see it getting much better. So I think 18th could be better, could prove me wrong, but I don't really know what to expect of him, and I don't think the car's going to be great. So 18th. 17th, this one feels really harsh, but I'm going Doohan. But this is just because I think he's set up to fail. Like, I don't think the Alpine's going to be that bad. I don't think he's that bad a driver. I actually really rate Doohan. But he's clearly being set up to fail. They want Colapinto. He's literally their reserve driver, like a 5-year contract. There's no way they're not going to set Doohan up to fail. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist or anything, but they are. So he's probably going to get dropped halfway through the season. They'll give him awful setups just to make him look like he's doing terrible. So, yeah, it's kind of sad, really. But I think it's going to be his F1 career over really shortly, thanks to Alpine. 16th, Stroll. Now, I know the Aston Martin's not that bad, but Stroll's terrible. I mean, he's had, 9 seasons in F1 now, is it? Or 8 seasons, and has he got any better? No. If anything, he's probably got worse over the last couple of years. So, with the Aston Martin not exactly being great, and Adrian Newey's work not coming into fact until their 2026 car, I don't think he's having any input in this car, then, yeah, 16th for Stroll. I don't think he'll be going at the end of the season now after this absolute stinker. 15th, I'm going Yuki. Now, this is very much based on the car, as I do think the RB will be maybe the second worst car on the grid, maybe third, and I might be underestimating Yuki slightly here. But I'm going 15th. Now, he's really good in 2024. I'm just a bit worried the RB is going to be bad this year. I'm hoping he proves me wrong, because he should be in that Red Bull seat. But I'm slightly worried for RB this year. 14th, I'm going Albon. Now this one's a bit tricky, because apparently Williams are going to focus all on development. If that's the case, then Williams are going to be far worse than where I put them. But for now, I'm going to go 14th. I think they'll start off okay. Their car wasn't awful last year. They just made so many errors and crashed all the time. So, I mean, if Albon can wipe out some of his mistakes, he's clearly a decent enough driver. I think 14th is not too bad. 13th, I'm going to Sainz. Sainz is a lot better than 13th. We need to make that very clear from the start. But the Williams is probably going to be the third worst car on the grid. So I think it'll be very difficult for him to finish any higher. But he's going to beat Albon in his first season. And when you're in a car like that, the only measurement really is if you beat your teammate. And I think he will. 12th, I'm going Ollie Behrman. He was great last season when he was in an F1 car. But this is going to be his first full season. I think he'll do well. I think he will. I mean, the Haas was clearly a decent-ish lower midfield car by the end of the year, seen with Magnussen and Hulkenberg's decent results. So I don't see why not. Behrman 12th. I think that's pretty good, considering it's a Haas and it's his rookie season. I think he will get some decent points finishes, but he'll just miss out on beating his teammate, who I've put in 11th. Ocon to finish just above Behrman in 11th. I only think that's down to experience. I think they're actually pretty equal in driving ability. Obviously, Behrman just needs to get more used to F1, and Ocon's already established. I think it'll be close. It might be a little bit further apart than what I'm thinking, but I think Behrman's a really good driver for the future, and I already think Ocon's a pretty good driver. So I think it will be pretty close between the two. I think Ocon will probably be the first driver, which would make sense as he's experienced and good driver. Very underrated. 10th, I'm going Alonso, so absolutely battering his teammate Stroll. I do think 10th will be a little bit up ahead of 11th. I just think Alonso, he's just such a good driver. He's going to drag the terrible Aston Martins, like the occasional P5, P4. It's not going to happen too often. I think there'll be a lot of bad weekends on this year, as they'll be focusing on 2026. But I think the odd weekend where Alonso shines will really help boost him up the standings. 9th, I'm going Gasly. I think the Alpine will be okay this year. They clearly got better towards the end of last season. The only reason he's so far ahead of doing though is because, well, Gasly's definitely going to be the main driver. Let's be honest, he's going to always get good strategy, always get prioritization. So, yeah, he's going to be succeed. I think he will. I think he'll have a strong season, and I think he'll probably end up finishing way ahead of Doohan and Colapinto when Colapinto eventually comes in. I'm not going to put Colapinto in this video. I mean, technically it's not confirmed he's coming in, but he will. That's another prediction. Colapinto to end up in a full-time F1 seat by halfway through the season. 8th, I'm going Liam Lawson. Now, Liam's not a bad driver, but he's been rushed into his Red Bull seat way too quickly. He's had about 10 F1 races and been put into one of the most pressurised seats on the whole of the grid. So it's going to be interesting to see how he copes. He wasn't great last season either when he was put into the RB. He was getting beaten comfortably by Yuki and didn't look like an upgrade on a struggling Ricciardo. So I'm not sure how this is going to go. Perez struggled in the seat. And while I do think Lawson's going to have more fight in him than Perez, I think he's going to struggle. I don't think the Red Bull's going to be amazing this year. Probably going to have to be carried by Max again in the constructors. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I'm going to go 8th because I just don't see him being able to do miracles with the car like Max. 7th, I'm going Antonelli. I don't think that's too bad. I think Antonelli's going to have a decent season. There will be mistakes. He's 18 years old. He's really young, but he is quick. He showed it in F2. It wasn't his best season last year. He probably should have had another one. He would have won it this year. But the Prima wasn't great, and he did make the odd mistake. But he's clearly a quick driver. I think at Mercedes, it's going to be high pressure. But I think as the season goes on and he grows in confidence, he'll grow in speed and start to get up to Russell's level. But the reason I've got him 7th as well is because I don't think Mercedes will be... I think it'll be really hit or miss this year. They'll either be on the podium or like P8 in a race. A bit like last year, really. They win and then they're just anonymous. It'll probably be the same this year. I don't see it really changing much. That's why in 6th I got Russell. I think he'll beat his teammate. He's got the experience. He'll have that extra bit of pace. He'll be the team leader. But I just don't think the Mercedes will be able to compete with the top 3 cars. Apart from Lawson's Red Bull. They should be able to compete with the Red Bulls. Max is just on a different planet when it comes to driving. Yeah, P6 for Russell. I think it'll be a decent season. I see him getting a win, maybe. But I just don't think the Mercedes will be consistent enough to be challenging with the top teams for constructors or for the actual World Championship. 5th, I think Piastri. I hate to say that, I really do. Oscar is my favourite driver, and he's so good. Like, the talent is clearly there, and he did show it last season. Obviously, he was beaten by Lando, but that's fair enough. Lando was in like his 5th, 6th season. It was Oscar's 2nd, and Lando is McLaren's boy. But I think this season, after McLaren made loads of mistakes with team orders, like the mess in Hungary and things like that, I think this year they're just going to prioritise Lando no matter what. They're going to push for him to get his first World Championship. It's going to be very much Lando Norris's year at McLaren, so I think Oscar's just going to be sacrificed all the time, which is really unfortunate, but I think that's what's going to happen. If Oscar gets pole, you have to let Lando by. I think towards the end of the season, it'll probably get a bit tense there, because I think Oscar will probably get a bit annoyed because it will literally be just sacrificing him all the time. But unfortunately, I think that's what's going to happen this season, when it probably should have happened last season and gone in on fresh terms this year, but who knows. But yeah, unfortunately, fifth for Piastri. He's far better than that, though. Fourth, and people might hate this, but I'm going Hamilton. I think he's going to do well at Ferrari, better than he did last season at Mercedes. But, I don't know. He wasn't amazing last season, and I don't think the car helped, and I think he was clearly lacking motivation. So I do think he's going to do better this year. But I think the top four, or top five actually, is going to be so competitive. It's just, do I think he'll be up there? I'm not sure. He's got to get used to the Ferrari. I don't think it'll take him too long, especially with all the testing he's been doing. But I don't think he's going to start quite on the same pace as the other drivers. I mean, he could do it. Here's Lewis Hamilton. Here's the GOAT, 7-time world champion. So if he won, I would not be shocked. If I'm basing it off of last season, I'm going to go fourth. Because I do think the Ferrari's going to be quick. And I think he will be quick. But it's just going to be so competitive. That's the only reason I'm putting him fourth. Like, these top four, well, even five, could finish anywhere in this, apart from Max, actually. But the others could literally finish anywhere within the top five, I think. But I'm going to go Lewis fourth. I kind of hope he proves me wrong. I want him to be quick this year, but I'm not sure. Third, I'm going Verstappen, the 4-time world champion. I'm putting him third. Now, this has nothing to do on his driving ability. On driving ability, like, he would be winning, or he'd be top two at least. It's not going to happen though this year. That Red Bull last year was so bad at the end. Probably the third quickest car on the grid, sometimes the fourth. Max did absolute miracles in it to put it where it was. He'll do the same again this year. He will get some wins. He'll get podiums. He'll get good results. But he's not going to be able to dominate like he did at the start of last season. So he's not going to be able to get that initial advantage. And yeah, I just don't think he'll be able to compete for the championship this year. Or he will, but as an outsider. Like, there's no way he can be the favourite this year. The car's not good enough. And if he does win it, the other drivers must have had an absolute stinker, or Red Bull done a miracle. Because Max can do miracles, but he's not going to drag this awful Red Bull to winning positions every weekend. It's just not going to happen, unfortunately. So that is the reason I've got him third. 2026 will probably bounce back though if Red Bull give him a good car. Second, I'm going Lando Norris. I do think the McLaren's going to be quick this year. I think Lando will be competitive. The only reason I haven't got him winning though is just because I feel like his mistakes are still a bit of an issue. He cleared a lot of them out last year, to be fair, but they were still there. He made a lot of mistakes. He probably should have won the championship last year. McLaren was by far the quickest car on the grid, and the Red Bull was slow. He had so many opportunities that he threw away. I mean, Brazil, that's one that's just on top of my head, which is awful how he threw that away. So, I haven't got a lot of faith in him winning the championship. I do think he'll be up there. He'll get wins, he'll get podiums. But I think when it comes down to winning that championship, I do think he'll bottle it. He'll just throw away stupid points like he did last season, and he'll end up finishing second. Now, who I think is winning the 2025 F1 World Championship is Charles Leclerc. Now, I don't actually think the Ferrari will be the quickest car on the grid, but in 2024, Charles was the best driver on the grid. He was so good, he was so consistent all season. If it wasn't for the Ferrari dropping off a little bit in the middle of the season, he could have genuinely been in the championship fight in a car that went from being the quickest car on the grid one week to the fourth the next. He was phenomenal last season. He's clearly improved a lot as a driver over the years. A lot, like the mistakes he used to make in 2021, 2022, pretty much been pushed away now. He's so consistent. He's so quick. He's one of the best on the grid. I think this is his year. I think Ferrari will push for it. I think they'll develop this year and sacrifice 2026 a bit to get this championship. And yeah, I do think it'll happen. I think Ferrari will win the Drivers' Championship with Leclerc, and I think they'll win the Constructors' Championship, making it a successful season for Ferrari, and finally bringing back some glory to Scuderia. Now, let me know how much you disagree with my opinions in the comments. Like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you for another video soon. Bye.